Our next lesson on the sociology of education is on the self-fulfilling prophecy, which is something that doesn't just operate within schools, operates across society, police service, for example. But our first example of it is going to be from schools. Self-fulfilling prophecy. You say something's going to happen, a prophecy, and then you make it happen. Self-fulfilling. Predict, prophecy, labeling. This is all based on labeling we talked about last lesson. Influence, expectations, development. Hargreaves, Keddy and Ball are sociologists. They're interactionists, that's their type. That's how they do their research. They're interactionists, not Marxists, not feminists. They're interactionists. And validity, how true something is. So, we got our work on our previous lesson on streaming and setting and labeling. Read the questions. If you don't know the answer, look in the previous video. Okay, self-fulfilling prophecy. Look at these photographs. Imagine you are a teacher. It is your first day in a new school. You don't know any of these kids. You just see this. You think, well, they're clever. They're going to do well. They're going to do badly. They're going to do badly. They're going to do well. They're going to do badly. They're going to do well. You started off a self-fulfilling prophecy because you've just labelled these people based on a tiny amount of information. So here's how it works in practice. You make a prediction about a person or a group. These kids in this class are stupid and lazy, or these kids in this class are clever and hardworking. Or the police might say, this group of people are thieves, there's a lot of crime in that area. Because you expect it, you watch for it, and you make it appear to be true. The kids who are stupid and lazy, you put in bottom set. The teacher expects the kids in the class to be less able and lazy. Therefore, the teacher sets easy work and does not push the kids. They form an anti-school peer group. Or if they're in top set, the school expects them to do well, gives them a different teacher and has high expectations of them. Or the police, if they decide an area has lots of crime, will have a lot of people on patrol there. And you catch people. And then you say, I told you so. The teachers with the bottom set, I told you they were dumb. They got bad grades and no one's surprised. Top set get good grades, that's about right. Or the crime stats for New Addington look very bad. Perhaps because the police are patrolling the area the whole time. Now this work was done initially by a guy called David Hargreaves in his book Deviance in Classrooms, published in 1975. So it's fairly old research, but every time someone goes to a school and repeats this research, they find the same thing's happening, even to today. A while later, Stephen Ball went into a school that he called Beachside Comp. Now, Beachside Comp doesn't exist. In social sciences, if you're doing research, you make up a name to cover somewhere. It sounds like he went to a seaside town in England. And he found exactly what Hargreaves found. He even had the teachers had slang words for this. If they had a top set class, they would warm them up. That means give them hard work, push them really hard. If they were looking a bit lazy and lethargic, they push them harder. They called this warming up the top sets. If you're given a bottom set class, you had to cool them down, the teacher said, which means you had to keep them calm. Don't give them much work. If they want to sleep in lessons, that's absolutely fine. Warmed up and cooled down, Stephen Ball found. Teachers were so much into this self-fulfilling prophecy, they didn't know it was called that. They even had their own slang for it. And Nell Keddy, when she did her research, also in the 1970s, she discovered, well, in bottom set, the teachers are absolutely fine with the kids sitting there chatting, doing no work. Same teacher, given top set, wouldn't tolerate it. Everyone's got to work in silence. This is all self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, these sociologists, they're interactionists or symbolic interactionists. They regard the social life as about the interactions between people, not big theories, not class conflict, not gender conflict, interactions between everyday people. They tend to do small-scale studies, like one school, over a long time. So what is the problem with this approach? The problem is the validity of what you find is a problem. It's not that it's not true, it's because you're only doing one school. The scale is quite small. You're not allowed to make generalizations. You can say, well, in this school this is true. In Beachside Comp this is true. In Hargreaves schools this is true. Doesn't mean it's true in all schools. Would be the scientific problem with this approach.